Hello everybody. Shipwrecked is beautiful. The lovely tropical environment is a far cry from the usual moody forest we regularly see in Don't Starve. Gorgeous golden beaches, rich blue seas, and, of course, a horrible terrifying volcano that erupts every year to wreak complete devastation on these innocent little islands. Yeah, today's video we're going to be living on top of said volcano. Yes. You see, in Shipwrecked, there are no caves or anything like in the regular world of Don't Starve, and that role is instead taken up by the Volcano Summit. A shard separate from the rest of the Shipwrecked Islands, the Volcano Summit is essentially one big biome that encompasses the entire peak of the volcano itself, featuring all sorts of unique and interesting flora, rich minerals seen nowhere else in the game, and how else could we forget the scorching hot caldera in the middle filled with red hot lava ready to explode all over the world. We're gonna be living up top there. In the last challenge video we got up to, I said this. It's kinda like the volcano from Shipwrecked, and no, we're not doing a challenge there. Maybe. Just leave a comment if you'd want that. However, as fully expected, you guys really want to see us suffering in another hot and horrible biome. To be honest, with how the first one went, I don't blame you. This run will be pretty much just like the fumarole challenge we did. Kessia and I will have 3 days of prep time to gather all sorts of materials we can before I use console commands to zip us on over to the volcano itself. From there, it's our goal to see if and how long we can survive without ever leaving the Volcano Summit, seeing what every single season has in store from us. From the blustering hurricanes to the torrential rainstorms, and even the volcano season itself. Things are gonna get really hot. I really don't know too much about the volcano biome besides what I just said now, so this is gonna be a fun learning experience. I have a feeling though that our odds are gonna be a lot better this time around when compared to the fumarole. So let's dive on in. Big shout out to fellow DST YouTuber Polarlotus for also doing a challenge just like this over on their channel a little while ago. Make sure to go check them out. Welcome to the beautiful islands of Shipwrecked, in multiplayer. Yes, I forgot to mention, but we're attempting this challenge thanks to the Island Adventures mod, which is a free mod that allows you to play Shipwrecked in Don't Starve together, complete with some brand new features to help integrate the game into a multiplayer setting. An amazing mod I've given plenty of love to in the past. But it's prep time. We have only 3 days to get all sorts of materials we can before we're locked to one single hot biome, so making the most out of this time is essential. Our character picks for this challenge were Kessia as Maxwell and me as Woody. Both of the characters kind of fulfilled the same niche of being able to harvest things super easily, but that's not why we both chose them. In fact, our character selections were really not as important in this challenge as they were in the fumarole video. I picked Woody due to his unbreakable axe that's great at harvesting trees, and their wereforms that can provide amazing benefits for incredibly low costs. My skill tree looked something like this, with a focus on upgrading the moose and beaver wereforms, taking notable perks such as the ability to regain health as a moose and destroy sturdy materials as a beaver. You'll see why those are important later on. I also took the ability to craft boards at a cheaper cost, and even hard hats since they're a cheap early game armor and can even protect you from falling coconuts. Cute stuff. Kessia picked Maxwell for the simple reason of she just likes playing as him. Like I said earlier, our character selections were really not too important or limited this time around, so we were able to pick characters we just enjoy playing or have a comfortable time playing. Their shadow workers will help out a lot during the prep phase, and their guarantee to almost never go insane at all during the challenge is a lovely benefit to afford. There is, however, a big main important reason she chose Maxwell too, on top of just liking him, but we'll go over more about that when the time comes. For now, we're sailing off the starting island already looking for more starting supplies. One of those important starting supplies is coral. You only get those from the coral reefs as you can imagine, and they're used to make limestone, which is a super important resource we'll need for later on. For now, we touch down on a second island. Reason we hopped islands so soon is that the starting island in Shipwrecked doesn't really contain anything outside of the basic grass, twigs, wood, flint, bamboo, vines, all of that stuff. If we want to get gold and even berry bushes, we need to get moving. Once we touched down on the second island, I spent my valuable time playing Balatro because this mod integrates Jimbo into Shipwrecked, just like we always wanted. Whilst I was doing that, Kezia was focusing on more important things like collecting gold, since we were lucky to find some on this second island. Golden rocks are plentiful on the Volcano Summit, but it's nice to have some early on like this. After spending the night of our first prep day getting lambasted by snakes, day 2 struck us. Started that day by building our science machine, letting me craft my first shovel. This is going to allow me to relocate grass tufts, saplings, bamboo, and vines all to the top of the volcano, a location where they don't naturally spawn, adding those resources to the pool of stuff we can craft things with. In an area as resource sparse as the volcano, being able to introduce things there continually opens up opportunities for us. Just ignore these silly monkeys chasing me the entire time. After I upgraded my dinky thatch pack into a big boy backpack, I smashed up the monkey dens on this island for some super useful poop and bananas. Keystone items that are gonna define this playthrough, which we'll need more of, so with the aid of Kezia's cool shadow prison, we killed the rest of the monkeys. Normally these guys constantly run away from you, so being able to keep them still like this makes killing them a breeze. Super duper useful for this run especially. We also smashed up a wild boar house for some pigskin, but it's not gonna be enough to craft us another one. No big deal though. Fighting these guys is annoying enough as it is, and I don't particularly want to deal with them whilst we're on top of a volcano. There are enough goons up there that we can fight, not that type of goon. Day 3. Started this day by pitchforking up some jungle turf. Yes, this is actually kinda necessary, much like it was in the fumarole video. All kinds of turf, including the base underlayer turf on the volcano, is completely incapable of sustaining plants, so bringing our own turfs up there is actually needed. Bonus points that will make our base look very cool. But yeah, it's the final day of preparations. I dug up some juicy berry bushes on the second island before sailing back to the first with Kezia to just dig up some more basic plants. I wanted to have a decent number of grass tufts, saplings, bamboo shoots and viney bushes, since, again, having those resources generating is always gonna be handy. Especially twigs, as we found out in the fumarole challenge. Kezia focused on collecting the actual materials themselves, whilst I focused on the plants. This included coconuts and jungle trees, by the way, which I haven't even mentioned until now, but are a good source of food themselves. Coconuts being edible, and jungle trees occasionally spawning bananas, eggs, or snakes. Not the most desirable source of food, but one that helps out in a pinch. However, with the last bit of resource collecting we did in the dark, we marked the end of our prep time, managing to gather a decent variety of plants, materials, and a tiny bit of food to keep us fed during the early days. With the arrival of day 4, our prep time had concluded. It's time. As we were getting pushed around by a little windstorm, we hopped onto our log rafts and teleported us over to the big foreboding volcano. The place we're about to call our home for the next in-game year. A bit intimidating living on top of an active volcano, but there was no use delaying anymore. Welcome to the Volcano Summit. It looks pretty much like you would expect it to look. Lots of volcanic rock, burned trees, and obsidian boulders literally everywhere. This place functions like the caves do in regular Don't Starve, with it being a separate shard from the rest of the world. Unlike the caves, however, it's still outside and thus receives daylight and other natural weather effects like the normal world gets. Only difference being this big old volcanic hellscape everywhere. The shard itself is simply just one biome, shaped like a donut. The outside of the donut being the clouds above, and the inside of the donut being, as you can expect, the lava-filled caldera that gives the volcano its name. It's very, very hot, but only if you're actually near the middle of the caldera. staying around the edges or pretty much anywhere not near the scorching hot lava pool in the middle is actually perfectly fine when it comes to temperature. Slightly on the hotter side, but that's about it. This already makes it about 10 times better than the fumarole biome challenge, since worrying about overheating is just not gonna be an issue for us. Which isn't something I expected to be saying when living on top of an active volcano, but I digress. They ain't gonna look a gift horse in the mouth. By the way, for more immersive purposes, I was recording this during the hottest spring we've ever had in the UK in like 70 years, so it really felt like I was on top of a volcano IRL. That's also the reason you won't hear much live commentary in this video, because I had a fan aimed directly at my microphone the entire time and I didn't realise until after recording. Sorry about that. Anyway, yeah, we're on top of a volcano now. Our first priority is to find a base location that's far away from the middle, far away from these goons, not those type of goons, and preferably close to a cool landmark or two. Fortunately, we find that right about here, next to the edge of the map and close to the obsidian workbench. Don't worry about that thing too much. It's a crafting table for obsidian stuff that we'll use much later on. I started work on the base by clearing out some magma piles. These are a great source of rocks, flint, niter and gold, and are easily dug up with a shovel instead of mined with a pickaxe. Sometimes they'll spawn a volcanic creature underneath them if you dig them up fully, so it's something to keep in mind if you see these too close to a flammable object like the base, cause these creatures never despawn. They are a free light source though. I plop my science machine down and start the ever important task of pitchforking the ground and placing jungle turf down. Like I said earlier, this isn't just for cosmetic purposes and will help sustain our trees and plants, since normally no turf here will sustain any of ours. You may also notice these weird spiky looking plants everywhere. These are elephant cacti and can be picked to gain a weird spike that can be used as a weapon or crafted into a weak armour. We pretty much ignore these cacti entirely for the whole playthrough, occasionally digging up their dried out husks to get sticks, so don't worry about these too much. With the coral and sand that Kezia collected during prep time, I refined both of them into limestone, and then forged that limestone into a chimneya. This is basically a fire pit, but it's immune to all weather effects, such as wind and rain. An essential item when playing Shipwrecked thanks to its numerous hostile weather events. Without one, your campfires will be blown out near instantly. And yeah, we can afford to have a fire pit in this base and not an endothermic one. The average temperature of this Volcano Summit is only 45 degrees, which will only overheat you if you are standing directly next to a fire pit for a few seconds, which we just, won't. Whilst I was terraforming and getting our plants down early on so they have ample time to grow, Kezia went around mining these charcoal boulders for charcoal so we could assemble a crockpot on the dawn of day 5, making my first meatballs on the very same day. An ability to cook food is super nice. Now all we need is a source of food. We could go killing those dragoons around the place since they drop 2 monster meat each, but that's not really what I want to do. Instead, I make an alchemy engine thanks to the copious amount of rocky materials on this volcanic summit, and start building a little pen over here out of walls and fences. How is this going to actually help us get a source of food? Well, that's because I placed down a prime ape hut in that penned area. You see, this attempt isn't actually our first attempt, it's our second one. In the first run Kezia and I did of this, we pretty much did the exact same things we were doing in this one, except Kezia was playing as Wormwood instead of Maxwell. However, in that run, we were pretty quick to run out of food, and with no possible ways to restore our sanity, and in Kezia's case, health, we died rather early on. Our food sources either required us to wait for our bushes and coffee bushes to bear fruit, or hunt dragoons for their monster meat. Both entirely possible ways to survive up here, but required a little more foresight and planning than we originally had. But for our second attempt, I wanted to see about introducing other food sources to the volcano. Originally Kezia was going to go Weber like I did in the last challenge just so we could easily farm monster meat, but that felt like a cop-out playing Weber 2 challenges in a row. Our minds then went to structures. Maybe we could build pigmen or wild boar houses. They give food but take a really long time to respawn. And that's when I remembered that prime ape huts could be crafted in Shipwrecked, the homes of those silly monkeys we saw earlier. These guys have insane levels of versatility. Normally they just run around and throw poop at you and steal your stuff, but their incredible use for us comes from their drops. They have a chance of dropping meat, bananas, and any poop they may have produced in the time that they were alive, a source of fertilizer, and 2 sources of food, one of which happens to be bananas, which, as we all know, are a superfood that can be made into all sorts of restorative dishes for dirt cheap. And the best part of all, monkey huts only take 2 minutes to respawn a prime ape. That's 4 monkeys a day per hut. 4 chances of meat and bananas a day. This is quite possibly the most efficient and powerful food source in the entire Don't Starve franchise. Banana bushes and banana trees grow 1 banana every 4 days. In that same time, we could have potentially gotten 16 bananas and meat from only 1 monkey hut. These huts are made from bananas and poop, by the way, so you can replicate them easily from the drops the monkeys have themselves. This one food source literally breaks the entire challenge for us. Only problem is that they're quite annoying to kill, opting to run away from combat and throw poop at you that just damages your sanity. But that can easily be fixed by building a little pen for them and putting your monkey huts in there, which, after we cleaned the escapees out, is what I did. Now, they have literally nowhere to run and cause chaos. We just need a good way to harvest them with little effort. And as you've probably put together by now, that's the reason Kezia is playing Maxwell. And if these primates couldn't become more overpowered, they can be converted into shadow prime apes with Maxwell's Shadow Sneak, which adds both nightmare fuel and beard hair to their loot table, whilst also helping by bunching them up for easy killing. So this one mob now gives us plenty of food, fertilizer, nightmare fuel for Kezia's codex so she doesn't need to farm nightmare creatures herself, and beard hair for fire pit fuel or making stupid rugs for our base. You know, I'm starting to think that prime apes might actually be broken. 5 items from one single creature is absolutely absurd. Especially the one that respawns every 2 minutes and is easy to kill when set up like this. We got fertilizer for our plants, food for our us, and all sorts of other nonsense to make surviving here even easier. The addition of one simple structure turned this challenge from a slog into a cakewalk. But what if there was another structure we could build that would make this even easier? Enter the Ice Maker 3000. This thing makes ice. You fuel it up like an ice flingomatic, and it will produce whole chunks of ice for you to use for filler or whatever else you want. So now we have easy access to even more ingredients to make food with, on top of all of the stuff the monkeys drop. If you couldn't tell, the reason we built this so soon is because in the first attempt we did, we completely forgot about the Ice Maker 3000. Okay, well no, we didn't forget that it existed, we both just collectively assumed it needed ice or hailstones to make, but its actual recipe is just a thermal stone and some bamboo. Did anyone else out there assume that this thing needed ice to craft, or are we just both stupid? Let us know down in the comments below. Not if we're stupid, if you assume this thing needed ice as well. Maybe it was just like an old version of the game. But that's our food sorted out for the entire run. Ice from the Ice Maker, and bananas plus meat from the monkeys. Currently we don't have an actual gate on the monkey pen, but none of that actually matters yet, because Kezia can use Maxwell's Shadow Duelist to attack them through walls, making sure both of us are always out of harm's way, and barely need to lift a finger to even kill them. Plus, since they drop nightmare fuel when transformed, it means Kezia's codex will never be empty again. I think we've just already won this challenge, to be honest with you, on day 6. I end up spending some valuable materials to make a gate to actually access the loot without the help of a shadow servant. I was reluctant on making a gate because it needed lots of wood and grass, but since we're now growing both trees and grass, there's literally no harm in spending our stuff. And that includes making beard hair rugs. Why not? So that's our food well and truly sorted. Sadly, we won't ever get the ability to make an icebox since we didn't find any gears during prep time. To be honest, it would be very difficult to get gears during prep time since the only clockworks in Shipwrecked are the floaty boaty knights, and those guys can only spawn a few days after you kill a sea creature, basically functioning as water cops, and they can also be found in one rare set piece. The lack of a fridge really doesn't matter though, because our food output is so insanely high that we can just afford to dump our food in a basic chest. With how much food we're getting every day, it doesn't matter if some of it spoils. And let's not forget, it's not just any food either, it's the super amazing bananas that can make crockpot dishes perfect for restoring health and sanity. So no matter how injured we get or how wrinkly our brains become, a couple of bananas can fix that problem as soon as it starts. But why not introduce even more food? How about coffee? When we arrived at the Volcano Summit, I used these coffee bushes and coffee beans as a basic snack since they restore a tiny bit of hunger. But their real strength lies in the ability to make the most broken dish in the entire franchise, coffee. The coffee bushes are everywhere on the Volcano Summit, but quickly wither outside of dry season, basically summer. Fortunately for us, you can simply fertilise them with ashes to relocate them and have them bear fruit wherever and whenever you wish. And the best way to get ash is to just burn all the turf tiles clogging our inventories. Add coffee beans to the ever expanding list of food we're getting. I'll show you exactly what the cups of coffee do eventually. Right now, the beans are just a really good filler. Welcome to day 8. Our lovely little volcano base is coming along super duper well. With Kessia focusing on farming the monkey prison, I kept up with the little coffee farm I set up in the base. Not that we needed them, depending on who you ask, but it's always nice to have extra food just in case. During my trip for more coffee bushes, I found the volcanic altar of sacrifice right next to our base. A super important structure for any shipwrecked world, and especially one where we're living on top of the volcano. It will allow us more control and freedom over this volcano we're sitting on than we already have. Right now we can't do anything with it, so push it back to your mind for now, until dry season. I spent the rest of day 8 effortlessly harvesting palm trees for coconuts. Whilst it is a food source, it heavily depends on how unlucky you are, since the tree is only ever guaranteed to give one coconut, with extras only falling on your head if you're unlucky whilst chopping it. But food isn't needed for us, so who cares? Anyway, remember how I said effortlessly harvesting palm trees for coconuts? Oh my god! There's many!
Man! What? Where?
In the base!
Man.
But here's a problem. There's a few of them.
Where?
In the base!
What kind of men?
You'll see. You'll see. He's hurt me. Uh-oh.
Oh, there we are. Oh, it crashed.
I crashed the game.
Wait, this hurt me. No worse.
Uh-oh. It summoned palm tree guards.
Oh, that was the man.
Yeah, that was the man. So it turns out the hardwood hat crashes the game if a palm tree guard hits you with a coconut. Whoops. Let's pretend that didn't happen. Gotta make sure not to wear a hard hat when fighting these things in the future. Devs, please fix. Day 9. It's pretty windy, but that's nothing more than a slight annoyance by blowing our stuff around on the ground. I think that's our cue to get some chests crafted. I plopped one near the crockpot to act as a pseudo fridge for now. Well, I say for now, since we're never getting gears, we're also never getting an icebox like I mentioned earlier. Grass and saplings have started growing now too. Trees, food, plants, this place is really pretty much like living anywhere else in the world, to be honest. There's nothing dangerous or hazardous about this place except the dragoons or the cold air in the middle. But as long as we just, never walk into an active volcano, things are peachy. Who would have thought? As long as Kezia keeps culling the monkeys every few days, we will literally never run out of food. I think I've made that clear enough by this point that we ain't ever gonna starve, or even go insane. Or die, because the only enemies up here are either dragoons which avoid you for most of the time, palm tree guards that crash your games, and monkeys that can't even reach us. And yes, those are the only 3 enemies we have to worry about, because crocodile's attacks simply will not spawn when you're on the volcano. Or pounds, or depth worms, or those giant weird bats from Hamlet. There's literally nothing that ever attacks you whilst you're up here. If you told me the volcano biome would be one of the safest places to live in Don't Starve, I wouldn't have believed you. We can literally just sit at our base and do nothing to survive forever, as long as we remember to kill the monkeys. But that sounds boring, so we go to hunt some dragoons. These are the local and only denizens of the volcano biome. Weird, buff, speedy lizards that dash around the map leaving fire everywhere. Honestly, they're kind of annoying to kill because they have such a fast attack, but do drop a lot of monster meat and occasionally their heart, of which is used to craft certain volcanic items or eaten in a pinch to glow in the dark like a glowberry. Sadly, I don't care about fighting them one-on-one, so I just go back home and use a moose idol I crafted a few days ago to turn into the were-moose and go ham on them, completely ignoring their kiting pattern and just doing my devastating smash attacks over and over. With the insight perks I took, I could easily afford to just hold F next to them, tank the damage and kill them with very little effort, thanks to my stun immunity, improved damage and HP regen. Doing this netted us a bunch of monster meat and a single dragoon heart. I want to use that dragoon heart to craft an item at the obsidian workbench, but that would need some, obsidian. Typically, these obsidian boulders cannot be mined by traditional means and require explosives to harvest, and sadly, we do not have access to bombs up here. But I did take the perk as Woody that allows me to break durable items when in my beaver mode. So come the full moon, I luck out and transform into the were-beaver, letting me devastate all of the obsidian boulders and magma piles in the area, getting us an ever-loving bunch of resources. I love how Island Adventures integrates perks and such from Don't Starve together to work retroactively in Shipwrecked. A lot of effort went into this mod and I love it more and more every day. After mining all of that obsidian on that full moon, come day 12, I put that and the dragoon heart together to craft the Terra Firma Forger. Now this isn't an item normally in the base game of Shipwrecked, and it's one specifically added by Island Adventures. It's essentially the Terra Firma Tampa that you get from the Lunar Archive in the base game. But since the Lunar Archive doesn't exist in Shipwrecked, you make one on the volcano instead, out of obsidian instead of fuel site, complete with cool, amazing art and everything. This mod does this for a lot of stuff, like the saw blade, the Gardener hat, and the fuel site bug net. It's just so lovely. So this Terra Firma Forger allows us to craft turfs. Now we're no longer limited to the turfs we brought up here with us, which means we can slowly start expanding the area we have for our trees by simply crafting more jungle turf. Lovely, jubbly stuff. I wrap up day 12 by building another monkey hut, doubling our banana slash meat slash poop slash beard hair slash nightmare fuel production. I also build a little shelter structure out of some bamboo and palm fronds. You can stand under this thing to get full protection from the rain, which might come in very handy for the next season of our adventure. Welcome to hurricane season. Yeah, you know the deal by now. Shorter seasons for location lock challenges so we don't get bored. So yeah, this is hurricane season. You're not gonna believe why it's called that. It's a very foreboding name for a season, but don't let it scare you. For now, until said hurricane arrives, things are gonna keep swimming along like they normally did. Despite the season being Shipwrecked's replacement for winter, things are never gonna get cold, don't worry. First thing we wanted to do was to get some more dragoon hearts to craft more obsidian items at the obsidian workbench. I forgot to actually go over what this thing is, but it's basically the Shipwrecked equivalent of the ancient pseudoscience station. A place where you can craft the DLC's most powerful endgame items. Just replace fuel sight with obsidian. Obsidian items' main gimmick is that they get increasingly more powerful the hotter they get from using them, outputting some pretty devastating power, as well as fire if they get too hot. Not to be confused with the recently added thermic tools, which were probably inspired by obsidian tools from Shipwrecked. But we're not interested in any of that because I'm already the best at harvesting. What we want to craft is an obsidian spear and armor because Island Adventures makes those items magical for the sake of buffing Maxwell Shadow minions. It basically means that Kezia will have an even easier time killing the monkeys from now on just by having the spear and armor equipped. As long as she doesn't get hit whilst wearing the obsidian armor and nearly burn down the base. Let's not put the armor on anymore. Nothing to worry about though. Our lack of flingamatics will make fire pretty devastating for our volcano base, which sounds very scary because we live on a volcano, but as long as we don't do what we just did then, or build too close to the flaming critters or fight dragoons in our base, we should be just fine. Just practice good fire security. My usual day-to-day job consisted of harvesting materials, keeping ourselves fed, creating more turf at the Terra Firma Forger, and expanding the base slowly over time. It ain't much, but it's honest work. I also made an obsidian fire pit with the obsidian we got the other day. It's another type of fire pit that is also immune to negative weather effects, like a chimney, but it has the special trait of having a bloomin' massive light radius. Seriously, this single fire pit could cover our entire base in light. Fantastic little thing. You'll barely notice it being night at all with it fully fueled. I also made a watering can at this point too. Even though we can't get a flingomatic, we could still protect ourselves from fire with this thing, simply refueling it with ice from the ice machine. People often underappreciate how good the watering can is at preventing your base from burning down. Give it a try next summer or whenever you find yourself basing on a volcano. Day 15. I feel like we've already answered the title of this video already. Can you survive on the Volcano Summit without leaving? Very easily. But we still got a hurricane, a monsoon, and a dry to worry about, so let's not get too ahead of ourselves. Just keep doing our usual day-to-day of gathering materials, collecting food, expanding the base, all sorts. Even made an endothermic fire pit just in case we get really hot for no reason in hurricane season. Though on this day, I did walk around the volcano a bit to collect some bone shards from the skeletons. Those will be super duper essential later on. But on day 16, the wind starts picking up. The titular hurricane is on its way. Instead of worrying about that, I chug a cup of coffee made from the roasted coffee beans and zoom around the volcano at ludicrous speeds. This is why coffee is often seen as the most overpowered food item in the entire franchise, increasing your movement speed by a whopping 83%. And that stacks with other movement speed items. Most late game Don't Starve Alone worlds usually end up with people moving around at speeds like this, and it's very comical. Not very compromising as a survival game though, if you were to ask me. Anyway, the hurricane is actually here now. Strong winds, slight rain, and non-stop lightning strikes. Fortunately for us, we are already fully prepared for a time of year like this, with a bamboo shelter, lightning rod that I made a few days ago and forgot about, and a chimney for light. And also chests to make sure our items don't get blown around like crazy. That basically translates to, hurricane season is nothing more than a really cool environmental effect. But gosh do I love how this weather effect looks. All of the weather in Shipwrecked looks really cool. Way more devastating than anything in Don't Starve Together. Something to mention though is that normally during hurricane season there will be hailstones falling from the sky, but since we're all the way at the top of a volcano, that will just not happen. Instead, we get ice from our super cool ice machine. And honestly, we're at that part of the challenge where there's really not a lot for me to talk about. We've got our food, we've got our materials, we've got our shelter, and all the things we need to survive. All we can really do at this point is just survive. Like it's some kind of survival game or something. But since we've already proven we can survive 2 of the 4 seasons up here, there's not really much else for us to talk about or do. But that ain't gonna stop us from pushing on. We still got 2 more seasons to go. Let's keep going. Something eventful might happen, like a tree guard attack, but this actually isn't hard at all. Thanks to Kesia's shadow clones murdering the tree guards with their already low HP pool, this was nothing more than a slight speed bump, also making double sure we didn't have the hard hats on because the game would crash. From this, we got more coconuts, more monster meat, and living logs that honestly cannot be used for anything viable, so I just end up using them as some fancy screaming firewood. Also, I gotta mention, there's a little glitch with planted vine/bamboo that will automatically make them be fertilized for one harvest after you exit and then re-enter the game. So that's why these plants here are suddenly fertilized since the last shot you saw them. Kesia and I took a little break in the recording. Whilst we do end up harvesting them, we rarely, if ever, actually use bamboo or vines, so leave a comment down below if we're dirty cheaters and this run is completely invalid because of this. Nothing really noteworthy happened these next few days. Some harvesting materials as a beaver, some material harvesting as a dude, but I do make a garden diggamajig for Kesia to have fun with, since she did collect some seeds during prep time, but that was honestly it for hurricane season, funnily enough. Sure, there would be strong winds and rain occasionally, one of which ended up spawning some palm tree guards, but besides that, this season was really uneventful. So much so that I just dedicated the rest of the season down to just prettying up the turf around the base, by putting some cobblestones around the zones of the area. We have a near limitless supply of all kinds of rocks, so I can afford to do pretty little things like this. Gonna be spending the next couple of months here, so may as well, right? Wait, hang on a moment, it's the last day of hurricane season. Where's the big bad boss that turns up and kills us, the Sealnado? Yeah, well, much like how crocodile attacks don't come up to the volcano, neither do any of the bosses. No Sealnado, no tiger shark, and absolutely no Quacken. Unless they want to do like a cool lava Quacken in the middle. Oh, that would be really cool. Yeah, the volcano is literally the safest place in the entire game. Which, out loud, makes absolutely no sense. Yeah, the safest place is the top of an active volcano. Just go up there, lol. It's kind of like how in Terraria, the underworld is the safest place in the game later into hard mode, because no new enemies spawn down there like they do on the surface in hard mode. So with no crocodile attacks, no boss attacks, no worrying about food, no worrying about temperature, no worrying about resources, what's left to do in this challenge? Well, I can think of two things. The first of which is monsoon season. That horrible time of year where torrential rain batters the land and creates massive flooding puddles everywhere that break all of your machines and summon ultra annoying poison mosquitoes everywhere. Surely that would offer us some difficulty on the volcano, right? Yeah, nah, this is just another season exactly like all the others. Flooding will never happen on top of the volcano during monsoon season. No broken machines, no poison mosquitoes, no nothing. Flooding is the main downside of monsoon season, so that leaves us with just the nothing season. A super rainy time of year that honestly isn't any different to the hurricane season we just had. So that means these next few days might be rather uneventful. I'm not gonna let it end up like the Lunar Island video and go insane doing some mundane stupid task either, and instead, gonna just pretty up the base more and more over time whilst Kesia does her favourite pastime of killing evil shadow primates. One thing I did was build a little cute cobblestone road up the scary volcano altar and place a chest full of bone shards next to it. Nothing too important for now, but will be essential soon, even though it does seem kinda psychotic. So now I'm just gonna summarise this season because all Kesia and I did was just literally survive. Occasionally something weird would happen, like me finding a scrapbook page inside a skeleton which I didn't even know was a thing, or maybe even finding the florid possum which spawns up here like it does in the caves. The scrapbook page I was able to turn into a piece of papyrus at the cartographer's desk. The use for that? Absolutely nothing. But something super important, Kesia got scared by her cat on day 26.
Ai, que susto!
What was that? Very important stuff. More beard hair rugs? Not really that important stuff. The rest of this season was literally me just prettying up the base, surrounding the perimeter in cool jungle floor to add some nice flair. Honestly, this base is kinda looking really cool, slowly shaping up to be one of my favourite location locked ones we've ever done. When compared to the one we had in the Fumarole challenge, This base is literally leagues better. Every good base needs some sculptures though. Sadly, since there's no bosses up here, we can only make the default 2 sculptures. But man, does it really tie the base together. The fact we couldn't kill any bosses for statues really upset us, so on the dawn of day 30, I made a little seal-nado for us to enrich ourselves on by fighting. Dude, we're no hitting seal-nado right now. Do not hit it with that spear. Yeah, as you can tell at this point, we've pretty much lost the plot. At least the titular Monsoon rain started at this point. But again, like I mentioned earlier, there's not going to be any flooding at all, so all we really got to do is sit under our 100% wetness protection shelter whilst it rains and dry off for free. No worries to our sanity due to the bananas, nothing. It's refreshing having a location lock challenge where I don't go insane for once. Thank you guys for telling me to do it when I said I wasn't going to do it in the fumarole challenge video. Appreciate it. If you do want to see more challenges like this, then make sure to like the video, subscribe, do all that stupid nonsense if you enjoyed the video. Which, considering you watched all the way up until day 31, I assume that you do like the video. Let me know if you made it this far by leaving a comment. Anyway, the horrible monsoon is over. That's literally it for monsoon season. It's one of the hardest times of year in the base Shipwrecked world, but now I know you can avoid it pretty much entirely by moving your holiday home to the top of a volcano. The only downside is that you might need to enrich yourself by doing stupid little games like, I don't know, playing hide and seek in Don't Starve Together. Okay, I'm going to close my eyes and I'm going to count to 10, you ready?
Okay.
Okay, ready? 1, 2, 3, 4, I can hear you going to the right, never mind, I forgot about that. Ready or not, here I go, for f***'s sake. The game just
There's literally nowhere to hide.
The game gave me the big stupid arrow. Okay, you try.
Yeah, it's fine. Have a little eye. Something round and delicious.
Is it a potato?
Yeah.
You made it a bit easy because you said I spy and then walked over here. So, after wasting our time doing that stupid nonsense, we do that one thing people always do in their Don't Starve world when they have nothing else to do and have an excess of resources. Build a wall around their base. I decided to do a little design with fences and stone walls for corners, exactly like I did for the monkey cage. I just had to be careful not to build the wooden flammable fences too close to the fire creatures, lest our whole base goes up in flames. But that wraps up monsoon season. It was just a normal time of year except it rained pretty heavily at one point. The next season though, is the big bad one we've all been fearing. Dry season. The time of year where the volcano itself erupts into flames and riddles the world with dragoon eggs from the sky, causing complete devastation. Surely this will mark the start of some struggles in this challenge. If it doesn't, then I don't know what else will. Ladies, gentlemen, and everyone else, happy Pride by the way, welcome to dry season. You don't understand how funny it is to say that while it's absolutely not dry right now. But as you can see from the red overlay, things are about to get really, really hot. But I don't care too much about that right now and continue building our cool little fence wall combo, taking care to make sure the parts of the creatures are made of stone and not wood. I think it looks really nice like this. But yeah, day 36 marked the official start of dry season. Right, let me just get this out of the way now. All that talk I chuffed up about the volcano erupting and devastating the world and all that? Yeah, no. That volcanic altar of sacrifice can be donated bone shards or meat to just stop the volcano from erupting. And if you recall, we collected a lot of bone shards in previous days. So yeah, I may have just nullified the entire dry season without telling you beforehand. Meaning all this season now is just summer, but there's no wildfires, and occasionally we need to visit the volcano altar to make sure we don't die a horrible flamey death. The only thing we have to worry about is the temperature getting slightly hot. As in, like, the same temperature as it is in regular summer. Typically, the Volcano Summit can reach up to 90 degrees if you stop it from erupting, so much so that even a thermal stone can't keep you cold. but we can just make sure that the volcano never erupts. So do you all know what that means? Another 10 days of absolutely smooth sailing. Sure, some of the bushes and plants are gonna wither and stop producing fruit, but we have so much rot and poop that it's literally never gonna affect us. And since there's also no wildfires in Shipwrecked, we couldn't be any more golden. As for the heat, thermal stones and endothermic fire pits will ensure we never die, just like in regular summer. So if you were hoping it would end up something like, you know, this, then think again. You can instead be happy that the cool wall I built is now finished and really ties the base together. Again, I'm super duper proud of how this base looks. It's really cute and cozy, despite where it is. But that's it. That's pretty much the final nail in the coffin of how long can you survive on the volcano. Yeah, you can just survive forever. Very easily, in fact. As long as you bring the most overpowered thing in Shipwrecked, monkeys, with you. Other than a very late drying rack on day 38, nothing of note happened. The usual ape killing, resourcing, cooking, offering to the volcano altar, getting lost far away from base without a torch so I had to use the cold era for light, getting bitten by Charlie, and nearly dying thanks to 4th, maybe possibly even 5th degree burns before Kezia could save me, getting a really rare but kinda ugly Warley skin. It's just certainly a life to live. Sometimes survival games like this really need you to struggle in order for the game to actually keep being fun. I'm fortunate enough that we're able to live so luxuriously without needing to worry about everything, but it kinda sucks that we don't have anything trying to stop us too hard. It makes me appreciate more and more what the base game actually does, and how updates that don't serve together over time have shaped it into a much more enjoyable experience. Well, at least for me, that is. Your mileage may vary, of course.
Gross.
Wait, can Lucy
Gross.
fall into the void if you do that? Hang on, try picking her up. Oh! It works! Yeah, do one, look. Oh yeah. You know, I never thought to actually try that. I don't know why we did that. Anyway, we were just back to surviving super easily on something that really shouldn't be possible. Plenty of resources, plenty of food, plenty of fancy turf tiles, and plenty of walls to keep out nothing at all. At this point, all we did was just ride out the last few days together. We did it. We survived an entire year atop the volcano. Short year, yeah, but a year nonetheless. With one last look at our fancy little base, we crafted a pair of boats, headed out down the same way we climbed up all those days ago, and set sail away from our lovely little volcanic paradise. Honestly, what an amazing journey that was. From start to finish, it really was a pleasant time. Sure, I complained about it being too easy and boring at times, but if we didn't have those monkeys, things would, and in a past life, did, go horribly wrong. But we did it on our second attempt. As we sail off into the distance and touch back on sandy land for the first time in a year, I thank all of you at home for watching. Seriously, we wouldn't still be doing this if it wasn't for your immense support and love that these stupid videos get. It means the world to both Kezia and I that you made it this far in the video, so thank all of you at home so much for making it this far. As we hang out with the stupid doi, we wonder where our adventures will take us next. Should we go back to the funeral for a part 2, especially now that it got a big update with some new tools, or set sail somewhere else? Let us know in the comments down below. For now, we're both gonna have a nice long rest on a beach somewhere. Cheers for watching, everybody. Take care. Bye bye.